let's get to cooking. This is what we're doing today at Memaw's house. Hey y'all, welcome back to Memaw's house. You see, I'm in the kitchen, of course. It's a little chilly outside and I want some chili. So I'm going to pull together some Southwestern Three Bean Chili. This is a recipe that I got out of a little book that my sister Maxine gave me. She gave me this book years ago. We've been decluttering some stuff. Needless to say, that little book didn't leave. But Peepaw found it in the stash of cookbooks that I had. Wherever it was, we were decluttering downstairs in the basement. And it was there, and he gave it to me, and I was so happy. So I'm going to make the Southwestern Three Bean Chili today. And I'm going to get my apron on, get the ingredients out, and we'll get to cooking. Here are the ingredients that we'll be using to make our Southwestern Three Bean Chili. And of course, you know this list will be down in the description box. 1 can of garbanzo beans. 1 can of kidney beans, red kidney beans, light red kidney beans, it doesn't matter. 1 can of black beans. 5½ cups of chicken broth. 4 cloves of garlic, minced. Corn, 1 cup of whole kernel corn. 2 medium peppers, red and green, 1 each. 1 can of tomato sauce. 1 can of diced tomatoes. 3 tablespoons chili powder. A tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. 1 teaspoon ground cumin, and ½ teaspoon of salt. And I will serve this with sour cream, shredded cheese, jalapeno pieces, green onion, and anything else that my family wants to put on top of this chili. Now I'm going to get started by cutting up my onions and peppers. The garlic has already been minced, and I've stored that in a jar, so I'll just pull that out of the jar. So I'm going to cut the onions by hand, but my daughter gave me this really fancy little thing that you know is not fancy, but it's cute. It's something that has been around for a long time. I didn't have one. One of those veggie cutters that you're supposed to be able to put it in there and cut the vegetables. So I'm going to use that for my peppers. We'll see how that goes. In the meanwhile, let's put on some veggie chopping music and get to chopping. Okay, now that we have our veggies all chopped, we're going to go ahead and pull together our chili because the chili will have to simmer for a little while to get all those flavors to combine and meld through. So we'll start on a medium-high heat, and I will start by using some olive oil in my Dutch oven. I'll put enough olive oil to equal about 2 tablespoons so that I can get my onions and my garlic all translucent and cooked down just a little bit. Now that the onions and garlic are fragrant and translucent, I'm going to go ahead and add my ground beef. Now I'm going to break this up and brown it real good. Now that the ground beef is cooked through and the onion and garlic flavor has gone through the meat, let's go ahead and add our peppers. Now that the peppers are added in and stirred up, let's go ahead and add our broth, our chicken broth. Of course, you can add beef broth or veggie broth if you prefer that. Whichever you prefer, this is your chili. We'll let this simmer, and while it's simmering, we're going to add our spices. I'm going to start with my chili powder. This recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of chili powder. So, if you don't want your chili spicy, or if you don't want it to have as much taste of the chili, you can back off the 3 tablespoons, or you can add more to it. I backed off it just a little bit, and I added some chipotle powder, some chipotle pepper powder, to add a little bit of heat to mine. And the one thing that was different about this recipe that got my attention was that it called for cocoa powder, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. And then it calls for a tablespoon or teaspoon of cumin. Like I said, it's all these ingredients will be listed down in the description box. But I thought that cocoa powder is going to add something just a little bit different. It almost makes it like a mole sauce. If you know anything about Mexican food, you know a mole sauce is a spicy sauce that has chocolate in it. And it is a savory application. You know, you serve it in a savory form, and it is delicious. So I found with this recipe that I did not have to add that pinch of sugar that I normally have to add to take the bite off the tomato sauce, because I believe that chocolate kind of took that off of it. So it was wonderful, but let's keep cooking. Now I have stepped away to take my cans of beans over to the sink so I can wash them off, and then we'll get them drained. So let's go ahead and clean the cans and drain the beans. Now I'm just going to use my big colander because all of these beans are going in the same spot anyway, and they're going to all go in this big colander together. Now, I don't have to rinse these beans. We just want to drain them. And now we can go ahead and put the beans into our chili. We'll give that a stir, and then we'll go ahead and add our diced tomatoes and our tomato sauce. Okay, it's all there. Let's go ahead and stir our chili, and it is smelling fabulous in here. Isn't it pretty? I almost forgot. I still have to add my whole kernel corn. So let's get that in the pot and let's stir it all together and see just how beautiful it is. Now this kind of reminds me of that avocado and black bean salad that I made back in the summer. I'll link that up above so that you can go check that video out, because it has some of the same ingredients except for the avocado. Now you know I have to taste the broth just to make sure that it is seasoned well and I don't have to add anything. And I don't. It's all coming together well. Once it cooks down, it will be delicious. So I'm going to let this simmer. I'm going to turn my eye down on low, and then I'm going to let this simmer for about 25-30 minutes so that those beans can cook all the way through. Here are the ingredients for the honey buttered cornbread. We'll start with 2 cups of self-rising cornmeal, 1.5 cups of milk, 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of honey, 1/4 cup of oil or melted butter, and a big pinch of salt. Let's get started. At Memaw's house, cornbread always accompanies chili. So I'm only going to use the recipe that's on the side of this package and make me some cornbread. But you know, in true Memaw style, I'm going to go ahead and melt me some butter in my cast iron skillet. This cast iron skillet is a skillet that I got from my mother. My mama used to cook the bacon in this, that I remember. It is a bacon pan, so I'm assuming she cooked bacon in it. Either way, I'm going to cook my cornbread in it because I like to have a square cornbread. That's just my little pet peeve. Anyway, let's go ahead and start making this by pulling together all of our liquid ingredients. Now, the recipe calls for buttermilk, and you know how Memaw do. I don't have any buttermilk right this minute because I was focusing on the chili. So that means I'm going to have to make a little bit of buttermilk. Now, I'm at the sink right this minute getting my can rinsed out. You know, I like to get all the milk out of my can. So I'm getting my can rinsed out, and we got our other 1/2 cup of milk. Now, to this, we'll add our white vinegar. And we're only going to add about 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and that will be enough to make this curdle and make a buttermilk. We'll stir this up well, and then we'll add in our egg and our honey and our oil and get our ingredients all mixed together and make our cornbread. So let me put on some cornbread making music and get our cornbread made. Now we're going to bake our cornbread at 375 for 20 minutes. Now I've dotted it with pats of butter, and then I will go in and drizzle the last bit of honey over the top. Yes, ma'am. The cornbread is made and the chili smells fabulous, and I think we're ready to serve. Okay, y'all. So the chili is done and the cornbread is done. And I have set up a bowl for Peepaw. He has tasted it and he says it's fabulous. You know he doesn't get on camera. So trust me when he said he likes it. I like it. Noah's here. You know he's not eating any chili, but he'll go ahead and have something else. You know, Memaw has to prepare something else for him. But we'll eat our chili and our cornbread. And I will have a couple of sides to toppings to put on the chili. I'll have some sour cream, some cheese that I'm going to shred, some cheddar cheese. We like sharp cheddar cheese on ours. And I'm going to cut up a few jalapenos for me and Peepaw because we like ours spicy. This does have a little bit of a kick to the back of the throat right at the end. And it's really good for weather like this. They're calling for some frost tonight, and we're getting ready geared up for our fall weather. So, having said all that, I want to thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming to visit with me. Every time I put a video up, you're there, and I thank you for that. I appreciate your support. I really do. So, if you are in the area, the Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia area that were hit by the recent hurricanes, I have been praying for you. And I hope that things are working out for you because God said he'll work everything together for your good. So I pray that it's working for you and that things are going well for you and your family and you are safe. Y'all be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you give this chili recipe a try. That chocolate does add a little something special to it. Anyway, Here's a video and a playlist for you to enjoy. Y'all be blessed. Bye.